Okay. Live back from more Andor conversations. Just make sure that the. Okay. Alright, so hope everybody has been well. If you're watching the replay of the stream, please do leave comments if you feel up to it so we can talk about episode 11 titled Daughter of Ferrix, which is kind of strange because they say it's Daughter of Ferrix, but Barso said daughters. He was like the daughters of Ferrix, which was interesting. But we will talk about that in a little bit. But again, hope everybody's doing well today on this Friday. Hope your week is going well. And we're ready to tackle this stream. I enjoyed this episode. Episode 10's my favorite out of the entire show. And this episode was still good, specifically Luthen's and Mon Mothma's scenes with Vel. So, and if you did notice that I put the homie B in the background, well, the front, before I went and put myself there. So, yeah, poor B, poor Marva, poor Cassian, all of that. That whole situation is just like, yeah. But let's go. Let's go. Gonna tackle each section, talk about some things, and go from there. Right, there we go. What did I do? Oh, okay. Alright. And as always, the stream will only go as far as it's going to go. As long as people will be in the comments, leaving comments, let me know their thoughts. We'd love to have a decent stream today, but we'll see what happens. People might be busy too, that's the other thing. But let's go. Connect off my camera. That's not it. That's that part. Where's the... That's like jumping the gun. Could have sworn I had, man. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know what happened to the portion that I had, where it was just prior when they were, when Cassian and Melshi were like hiding out, looking down at the specific folks, right? And yeah, what happened to that? There it goes. Why did it go down here? So strange. Alright, so they were over here, they were hiding out, they were looking at the ship and stuff like that, and Melshi was asking Cassian if he could fly the ship. And he said he wasn't sure, even with the way that the ship looked and the class and everything like that. But I definitely like the aliens that we saw here, because they were, the look of them and how they were speaking, that was just like really cool. But Melshi was the one that decided he wanted to be like, look, let's run. Let's head over here. Let's try to get the ship. And then that's when they got caught. And I would wonder what they would call this, like this trap that they set to be able to, maybe it's to capture food. Maybe. But because they captured them is that was just so funny to me. I thought that was hilarious. But then we switched to our girl Dedra here, which she only had this spot in the entire show. Talking about Marva, talking about the funeral, the 2-day setup for it. I definitely want to say that the funeral itself is going to be where things pop off, and there are going to be a revolt from the townfolk of Ferrix. That's what we saw from the trailer itself when it was being pushed out a couple of months ago. So that is going to be the focal point of what sets, I want to believe, sets more people in motion of joining the rebellion, maybe even cashing as well, because I'm believing that he's going to be at the funeral once it begins. I think he's going to be able to just make it as the funeral is starting, and he is going to be a part of the revolt, because the funeral, it sucks that the funeral has to be what sets everything in motion, but I believe that that's going to be the case. But again, it was just good to see Dedra here. I just wish that she had more stuff to do in episode 11, but it's totally fine, because I feel like she might pop up in episode 12 for sure. But once we get back to cashing them, they're talking to them about how it's not us. They bring up the Empire. They bring up the fact that the water was all discombobulated here. It's because of the Empire. It's their fault that, these two buddies here or whatever, they decide to let them go. But I do like the one guy over here on the left top corner, and his look, he has the weaponized right hand. That is just like, their whole outlook, and how, like I said, how they were speaking was just fun. So again, we got some other aliens in the show, guys. It's just more, it's not so much that we're so used to within the Star Wars realm. But then that's when they get the ship and they head out. This is when, Vel pops up. Vel pops up at Luthen's shop, and her and Clea have a specific conversation because she's looking for Luthen. And something that Clea says to Vel was kind of similar to how Luthen's response. Now, Luthen's monologue in last week's episode was just like that, like between him and Kino, like they were the highlight of the episode, right? But Clea, her stance, her thought process, how she's thinking, what she's talking about. I feel like Clea she's like feeling like she is more so a little bit more in tuned of what's going on. She has more of a level head, more than likely because she's not in the full out on like out in the field like how Luthen is and stuff like that. So she's like on the outside looking in, and she feels like she has a much clearer head outlook viewpoint from where she's standing. That's why she said what she said to Vel here at the shop, which I just found very interesting in how she said it. It was the tone and the way that she said it, the wording that how she talked to Vel. Just an interesting conversation that I actually enjoyed a lot there. And then we see that the ISB agent here wants, I think this is just before they cut to Brasso and B, that we see Senta and the ISB agent, and they're patiently waiting for Cassian to arrive. They don't know when he's coming. They're just patiently waiting for him to get here. And they have specific conversations with each other, which is also interesting too. I like that as well, that they're talking amongst each other. But I feel like, to be honest, I feel like they don't know. Their focus isn't on each other. It's more so just because they are like undercover and trying to wait for Cassian to arrive. I feel like if something does indeed happen, that they will then realize that, oh, you're playing on this side, oh, you're playing on that side, like, oh, you're the enemy, or whatever. However they're looking or viewing at it, that's what I believe is going to happen at the funeral come next week in the finale. Now, B, we got to talk about B. Like, poor B. Like, guys, how could we sit here and like, let me go to here, because my stuff is all jacked up. I don't know what happened to my my stuff, because when I set all this up, it should have been in order, but it's not, like, per scene. So when we get to B's section and them talking to him, we see that, like, B is definitely distraught. Like, you can tell, like, this robot and other robots within Star Wars, like, they still show some sense of emotion, and it's just like, wow, you're just sitting by like, wow, like, this is just like, you really are starting to care for these robots. Mr. Tony, what's going on? How are you? Heard somebody say Cyril will inadvertently allow Cassian to escape Ferric somehow. I would love to see that happen. I honestly believe, Mr. Tony, I believe that they will come in contact with each other. I feel like Cyril's going to still, like I've been talking about over the past like 3 weeks, I want to say, that Cyril's going to join the Empire, but then eventually he's going to join the Rebellion. But I believe he's going to join the Rebellion in the second season. I feel like he'll probably just join the fight to get Cassian and all of that, and he will eventually get in the good graces of the Empire, and then eventually he will switch sides to go to Rebellion in the next season. But who knows for sure? But that's what I feel is going to happen. But yeah, B, like I said, him seeing Marva, like, even being, like basically how they did with Olaf last week, right? And let me see if I can find it here. It's this here. Like, I like this spot when they are moving Marva's body out of the house, and you can see in the corner here, the bottom left corner, you can see him through the window as they are pausing with Marva's body. And even of course they do focus on the chair and everything, but just like, guys, like, that's just like, it's just like, you're really just feeling for B, like, you really are. And how B was reacting to, like, just everything, and it was just like, man, like, it just sucks, guys. It just really just sucks. But once we get from there, I talked about that, we can switch to Bix, because Bix was, she finally had a little bit more in the episode here. Mr. Tony said, I really appreciate how the show actually respects B. Yeah, like, yeah, you literally just love how their attention to detail to B is just like really dope, right? But Bix, they only showed her for a brief moment in last week's episode. It was really brief, but here they gave her more attention to detail here with her, and taking her to have that sit down to conversate. To me, I feel like they tortured Bix more because they felt like she had more information to give, and you could just like see in her face, just, man, she's all tore up, like, mentally she's like, it's just bad. But they don't know that, they believe that she's had come in contact with Krieger, and they are questioning her, but they just don't, they just don't know. I feel like Bix in this moment, maybe she does it outside of this scene, but I feel like she could have said, yes, this is the person, blah blah blah, this is Axis, yes, you are correct. Same thing, Mr. Tony. I am worried for her, yes, but I feel like she probably could have had that response and saying, yes, this is a Axis, this is the person that Cassian met, and I would have thrown their investigation off, and then they would have possibly done whatever they would have done with her, maybe let her go or send her to prison or whatever the case, right? But it's just the responses, how she was responding here, that I'm sitting back and thinking like she basically it was just the way that she was looking, even while she was staring at the hologram of Krieger, more tears getting ready to come down her face. She puts her head down to the side with this agent. I'm just sitting back like, yo, like Bix is still just fully tore up, and she needs a month off to really just recuperate and get her mind right, because she's probably no good if, again, when the funeral does pop off in the finale next week, that she might not be any good to be able to go out and assist. Now, not saying that she won't, I feel like she will, but currently right now I feel like she just can't. So yeah, we will definitely see what happens with that. Now I'm gonna move on to Cyril real quick, real briefly here, because I like how his mother, like I want to say I like how they kept it real, where it looks like she just woke up because she got the call, for Cassian. She had to get him up out of bed. She was there, but she was like around the corner. He told her to go back to bed, like waving her out, but she didn't. She was still listening in. And his homie calls him. He's giving him updates about Cassian, about his mom, about the funeral and stuff like that. And Cyril was just like, he's getting excited. He's getting excited. This is where what Mr. Tony, what you're talking about, like, this is the moment that I've been personally waiting for Cyril to have, where he's like, okay, I can get back into the fight. I can do this again. I can go out here and literally like make things happen for the benefit of, the quote unquote, how Saul said it last week, the greater good. I'm a good agent. I do my job. I do it well. I even have my clothing pressed perfectly as possible. Like I'm out here doing the job. But this is what I was saying before, guys, where I was talking about how Cyril has been pushed to the side, and I've been patiently waiting for him to get remotivated to get back out here in the field, and it just hasn't clicked for him yet. But now it just took a few extra episodes. Maybe it could have been a little bit shorter for him to get back on the saddle. But once he gains the information that he needs, he's just like, he knows that he needed more, but he couldn't get it. But the mom is still there, though. That's the other thing. So she's hearing this information. I don't know what she would do with it, though, because she didn't like go back to her room. She just stood off to the side and was just listening to the whole conversation. So maybe she may play a small little bit of extra role in the finale next Wednesday. It was something else that I wanted to talk about here. Let me see. Got that. So once we get by that, that's when we come across Mothma, right? And her daughter. This was interesting because per the conversation that Vel and her are having. We hear, the kids in the I want to say the dinner table, that they are speaking specific words. They are talking about something specific it's basically like a class. And we found out that it was Lita's idea to do this, but more so, I feel like she's doing this because of because of her father, because again, her and her mom is just not clicking right. It's just stuff. This is just what isn't. It's not. They don't have that mother-daughter bond that that Mom Mothma is looking for to have with her daughter, and because her daughter has a specific viewpoint of her mother, she is having more of connections with her dad, because as we see throughout these episodes, whenever we do see them, she's always talking about, yeah, I'm looking for dad, or I need permission to do this, and then Mothma's like, go find your dad. So she's always going and being around her father, so she more than likely has some specific conversations with her dad about stuff. And that's when she was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna do this, maybe to possibly get back at her mother, but more so because, again, this is just something that she wants to do. Now, if you look at the image that I took on the bottom right corner, she literally looks in the direction of her mother for roughly 4 seconds, maybe 3, and she gives her mother a specific look as she's still talking amongst her classmates here in the room here. But Vel and Mothma are having this specific conversation about this, but we know that that's not the main focus of what they are getting ready to discuss and talk about. This was more so about Mothma giving Vel the full-on scoop and scope of what really is going on with her, with her money, with a whole bunch of stuff, and how she is. JP, what's going on, dude? How are you? Man, this episode got me crying at the end, and the little robot got me sad as well. Such a well-made, well-directed. Yeah, definitely. I was literally just talking about B. Like, they literally had you, like, really just like, man, like, B just, it just sucks. Because B was talking about, I want Marva back, and looking for cash, and all this stuff. Is just like, it just really sucks. And then having Brazo just stay the night and stuff, it just sucks, man. I would love to see Surreal gone insane and in his mom. This will take the show. No, we don't want that, dude. No, we don't want that. But it just, I literally was just talking about Surreal and how I was saying, like, I feel like I've been waiting for Surreal to get back into the picture, and it just took several episodes for him to get here, but finally it's happening. I feel like he's about to do it in the season finale, and he may end up running into Cassian in the season finale. I believe that's going to be the case. But per this conversation, this is about Vel getting the clearer vision of what's been going on with Mon Mothma. And I also want to say this is Mothma just fully realizing and expressing what's been on her mind, what she's been feeling and thinking this whole time, because we believe that Mothma, she feels like the walls are coming down all over her. Everything's overwhelming. She talked about, she had been trying to move these credits for the rebellion, and there was just that one obscure thing that stood out, that got picked out, and now her back was in the corner, and she ended up, Vel brought up Tacoma and wondering if she trusts him, and she's just like, yes, like, he's been trying to help me, but then she just tells her, like, I am in a bind here. I don't know what else to do. I have to do this, blah blah blah. And it's just like, man, like, Mothma is going through it, and she just let a lot of her emotions literally come into the fold here. And it was just like, man, like, Mothma just like let some tears flow and everything. Summerstar, what's going on? How are you? Welcome to the stream. I wonder if Mon sets up the meet and greet with her daughter and Davos' son, but Perrin divorces her to prevent the betrothal. I don't think. I don't know. Maybe. Now, I know I mentioned talking about how Perrin could literally just be like, yo, like, you were doing this on the side because maybe he didn't know that, Mothma was doing secretive stuff around him. And then he's just like, well, you were bad. Let me just send you to jail and to help you learn your lesson because I love you, blah, blah, blah. That was my thought process on that. But could he possibly, could Perrin divorce Mothma? Would that be a thing? Now, I know I keep saying that Mothma's going to more than likely go through with the meet and greet, but she's going to try to figure out, I hope that she figures out a way to get out of it. Like, truly figure out, get a way out, get out of it. That's my hope. JP, you said, I wonder if she's doing this to make her family safe, the whole arranged marriage thing. But that's the thing. She has to do it, right? But she has to figure out how to get out of it, because this is the only way to move those credits. But she's going to have to figure out a way to figure this all out, because now, getting in bed with Davos, quote unquote, the saying of getting in bed with Davos to do this thing for this quote unquote charitable, this charity, these funds, blah, blah, blah. It's still a bad thing. It's still technically still illegal. He just wants more power because he basically would want his son to marry into Mothma's family because of that money, because of, her position politically. Like, he just wants more power. That's just basically what it is. Smarty Pants Tutoring, what's going on? How are you? Welcome to the stream. I love desperation. Like, I really screwed up and I'm in trouble. That kind of vulnerability is rare in Star Wars. Yes, it really is. It truly is. Really probably can't believe all these years she gets to do so much as Mothma. Yeah, definitely. Like, Genevieve has been great as Mothma. Like, really, really, truly great as Mothma. Like, just being honest. Let me see. Now, one of the things that did stand out here, it's very small, right? I'm actually going to be doing a video on this. It's about Cassian. And it's about Nemik's, I'm losing my train of thought. Nemik's thing here. When he went back to the hotel that he slept in, one thing is nobody thought to anybody going to this hotel room, nobody thought to check the top of the shower. Like, he's the only one that put this up there. It's still there because Cassian's been gone for like, what, 2-3 months? Because of him being arrested. And, his belongings, the credits, the gun, Nemik's thing there, because he opened it up and it started talking and using Nemik's voice. I believe we're going to get to hear that whole thing, or at least a portion of it, in the season finale. He's gonna look into that and reading that manifesto. Thank you. Yeah, JP, thank you. The manifesto is still there. Like, you've been gone 2-3 months and it's still there. That, they got to go in there and clean those places. Nobody decided to check the top of the shower to, you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy in itself that it's still up there, and he was able to get that and, take it and take it with him. But I believe that the manifesto is gonna pop up, and we're gonna actually at least hear a portion of it in the season finale next week. And also too, there's aliens laying in the bed here too. So Summer Star, what is going on? When you live a short person life, no one sees the dust way up there, so why look? I mean, you would think if people were going in there to clean, you would think that you want to clean everything, right? Ain't no Wookiee taking a shower in the shorts. Yeah, that's true too. Let me see. What else? Maybe we'll go back to Cassian's past on Kenari. I want to say yes, because the one reason why I mentioned that is because I talked about this like 3-4 weeks ago, and I talked about it within a 2-week time frame. I haven't done a video for it. I'm gonna do, but I keep mentioning on these live streams is that they gotta give Cassian closure for his sister. They just can't leave it at what Marva told him at stop looking, stop searching. They did that with like they threw something out there specifically like 2 or 3 times in the show, and they just like brushed it off. And Cassian's sister is one of those things, right? So yeah, if anybody hears somebody snoring in the background, that's my don't mind that noise. It's just my best friend here knocked out. I apologize. I told them that I was live streaming, but you know, this is what I was doing, but I wasn't expecting them to fall asleep, so I apologize. But now we must talk about 2 things. We're gonna kind of portion this out. 2 Tubes was great here in episode 11, and I love the fact that, you know, once Luthen arrived here, that you say, I'm not expecting a major revelation. I think his sister probably is dead. That's what I'm saying. Even if his sister's dead, I at least want him to get closure on that. At least him gain that information. You know what I mean? Like, whether she's alive or not, I at least want him to get that closure, because that was like a key thing that you shouldn't just brush off. Because then I feel like it would be to me, I can't speak for anybody else, but to me, I feel like it would be a disservice to me as a viewer of the show to say the only way I could find out that information is by reading it in a comic book or a book. Like, it's here on the show, they should just like at least give that information out to us so that we can do that, and then give more backstory on him and his sister's relationship when they were kids, at least, or something a little bit later or something like that. So at least on the show, you know, do that for the show. So that's what I'm saying. Smarty Pants, like, you know, give him at least confirm it. But something that people have been talking about is it would too. Is Luthen the Force user, or did Luthen know a Force user because he brought up the Kyber crystal back in, I believe, episode 4 or 5, and he, you know, was like talking about how that was precious to me, and this, that, and the third. He walks around with these staffs and stuff like that. You know, the guy here holding it, he doesn't know what it is, and Luthen just tells him either what did he say? Put it down or give it back, or whichever. Like that statement there is just like, man, like that was just really, really dope, like how he did that here before going in to see Saw. Summerstar says, I think the sister thread and the keynote thread are similar in the that they are not meant for closure, just something to learn from. That could be the case too. Such a calculated and dangerous person. He know what he's up to, and he never wants to know he is the main equation for the rebellion. He thinks of himself as a piece of the rebellion, nothing more than that. Who are you talking about? JP, are you talking about Luthen? Luthen, I'd actually be okay with him being vague about in regards of his past. Now they are being vague for sure, because we know that Luthen is a chameleon. He can change up how he's portraying himself in various ways. We've seen that a lot of times, even in this episode here today. I mean, from this past week, even out in space. We'll talk about that too. But this could be, you know, just something as vague as, you know, they're holding this. They're putting it out there like, hey, like this could be a lightsaber type of thing. But the show in itself is doing so great at being a show on its own, without the Jedi, without the Sith, without the you know, so many space battles. It's just been almost perfect for me, that I've just been loving it, you know. But also, let me see. In a show full of fascinating characters, Luthen might be right up there as one of my favorites. Yes, he's becoming a lot of people's favorite characters. JP, you say even go the rebellion with, well, when no one remembers, and he know that. Yeah. Let me see. So when he goes in to talk to Saul, though, and they have the specific conversation they're having. Saul's talking about, I want to go and meet with Krieger. This is what I want to do. And Luthen's like, because he gained some information. I want to say the reason why he decided not to go through with the Krieger meet is because of his conversation with Lonnie last week in episode 10, and finding about Dedra, and what he was saying to Lonnie about that, and finding out that Dedra was looking into key information. I want to say he decided to say, you know what, the Empire's getting too close. We would just rather just have them catch him on their own. We don't want to be around when that occurs. But of course, Saul's like, you're gonna burn. You're setting him to be burned, and you're doing this. Why are you doing this? And he's like, well, what did Luthen say? Like, it's just better this way because things are shifting in a specific way, and I kind of want to stay out of the way. Even though he does look at Saul and says to him, that I've been in the room with him, and he didn't even know it. I've had various sources and stuff like that in the room with him and around him. This is what Luthen does. He has people everywhere, and of course, it's fairly right and good and great that Saul has the reaction that he does. But I love how he says to Saul, like, Two Tubes is my man. He tells me everything, right? Me and a buddy of mine, we crack up about that scene all the time and how he said it. And Two Tubes was going off. He was just like, what do you mean this isn't me? And blah, blah, blah. Saul's looking at Two Tubes like, what is this? What is really going on, right? Let me see. Smarty Pants says, yeah, Luthen knows he won't be remembered. And sure enough, that's right, as he never mentioned in later things, partially because he didn't exist, but it's such a clever way of using lore, right? And so with that, I love that Luthen decided to do this, grab Two Tubes' gun, pointed in the direction of Saul, and Saul's reaction is, of course, there's no way that you can get away. You should know that. This, that, and the third. And then, Luthen's just like, this is the only way that I know how to get your attention. This is what I needed to do so that you can be able to at least listen, because you're not paying attention. You're overreacting. You're getting anxious. You're believing, that the room, that your men are in my pocket and stuff like that. So it is great writing. It really is. So, when we look at this scene between him and Saul, it was just great that how they, went about this scene. And then, of course, we get Saul's response to saying 30 men, for the greater good. Luthen says, call it what you will. And then, of course, Saul gets, per the title of the stream, let's call it war. And I just love that, the scene here between these two as they're talking, the tension in the room. You could hear a pin drop in these moments between these two. It was just really, really cool. I just want to flip back to Surreal real quick, because I forgot about this. Is what I wanted to talk about. Him like waiting for his mother to leave, and then him going back into the room to go into her drawer to get whatever it was that he got. We don't even know what it is. He took it out of her drawer here. But the one thing that I did notice, I don't know if anybody else was paying attention, once he closed the door, that one of those buttons, the specific drawer that he opened, it started to blink, and it kept blinking. So I want to say that this is how she's going to find out that he went into that drawer, because what I'm believing is that the only way for that to stop blinking is if you push the button itself, and it will turn off. So she's going to find out that Surreal went into her drawer to grab whatever it was that he grabbed. It could have been credits or something like that. I don't know, but we'll probably find that information out next week. Let me see. Smarty Pants, you said, well, I think Saul is practical enough. Even he wouldn't be as heartless as Andor. I'm not going to put my people at risk. Right, that's what Saul said. Yep, in episode 8. Heartless at root, Luthen, I mean. No, you're fine. You're fine. Summerstar says Luthen also exerts the least amount of resistance when sleight of hand is a better tactic. He works smarter, not harder, right? And that's one of my sayings, guys. I always say, like, it's better to work smarter, not harder. Like, especially as you get older, like, hold on, give me a second. Hold on one quick second here. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, JP, you say, yeah, that's why Luthen is a better person to plant the seed for the rebellion. It needs people who willing live with the guilt. The one thing that I want to say too about Luthen is that like how we did talk about Kino not surviving. Well, technically, sort of, kind of didn't. But you know, he same thing with Luthen. Like Luthen's. I feel like we're getting signs that he's not going to survive the actual rebellion fight, even though we see what we got with him in this episode, which was just really, really dope. We're going to dive into that right now here. Okay. Now, real quick, if you didn't know this information, the Arrestor Star Cruiser, the Cantwell ship here, is named after a specific person who drew out the ship and everything like that way back in the 70s, before the actual original film came out. And they put this ship in the deleted scenes for Solo when Solo was with the Empire and he got kicked out. So they actually had this same ship out there. So this is more than likely this might be the same ship that he was flying on and stuff like that, and riding part of and stuff. So yeah, the Cantwell is named after the one guy named Cantwell who eventually passed away in real life. So Smarty Pants says the most pissed I have seen him so far is when he talked about what he sacrificed. Yeah, and he sounds angry. It's like he's holding this for so long, right? When he talks about how he wrote stuff down, yeah, R.I.P. to Colin Cantwell, when he wrote stuff down 15 years ago. Somebody had just mentioned that in one of the comments. They left a comment in one of the videos talking about that. They feel like the 15-year thing that he wrote down was roughly around the time of something to do with the Empire. So yeah, this is what Luthen decided to do moving forward. See, perhaps, but oddly enough, I think Marva's death couldn't stir a rebellion by being a rebel who is also a good person. Luthen's death, if that happens, probably wouldn't encourage people to fight. That probably might not be the case, probably because he's not, around so many people. He's, hiding in plain sight, basically. But people don't have that specific relationship with him. Relationship, bond, or whatever, however you would say. That's why I was saying at the beginning of the stream, like with Marva's death, Marva's funeral was what's going to spark that revolt from the people of Ferrix. From what we saw in the trailer, we're finally getting that stuff when the final episode for season 1 appears next week. Then again, this is a man who works in the shadows. He's an enigma. He knows few people actually know him. He's okay pushing the rebellion behind the scene. Yeah, period. Like he's literally. I honestly believe that Luthen's the starting point of the rebellion. He's the kind of like the godfather of it, at least. So I do like this ship here. I do like how they had it built, and the specific members of the Empire riding this ship, but also too, once we start moving and going through stuff, I like the attention to detail in this scene when they started to use the tractor beam. I want to say Luthen literally decided to start forcing stuff to kind of just halt stuff, to slow a little bit, at least slow some stuff down for him. Some sources hope Brazo survives Ferrix. Seems like he's such a good dude. Yeah, I feel like Brazo should, and because Cassian's done lost, he didn't. Cassian's lost so much, like, you know what I mean, like, and plus he just loses his fault, his mother, cause he lost his adopted father, lost his home world, more than likely lost his sister. He just lost his adopted mother. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he shouldn't have to lose, Bix. He shouldn't have to lose Brazo. Like, not anymore. You know what I mean? Like, at least not anymore. But yeah, I think that, Luthen decided to trigger some things on the ship to try to slow stuff down so they can be able to make it work. I'm worried about Bix too. JP, do you think Acolyte will have as good as production as this? Because I hope it is. Also, John Watt, Star Wars project is kind of interesting. We must protect B at all costs, no doubt. Acolyte, I feel like I want to say I hope that it's good. This one's probably going to be a little bit more fast-paced because it's about the Force, it's about the Sith. They're probably going to be talking about my homie Darth Bane. Probably a mention about maybe Plagueis. You know what I mean? Like, so we'll see who they decide to bring up as far as dark side users are concerned with the Force. We'll see what happens. I'm hopeful that they'll talk about my homie Darth Bane for sure in that show. So then there's that, and then and this was just dope, guys. Just being honest, like, because I was talking about how Luthen was taking his time trying to figure things out. You said your DJ Bestside says that your B2 action figure agrees. JP, you said yeah, Andor set too high of a bar right now. Yeah, you could probably say that. I think we could say that. Set the bar a little bit too high, right? So give me 1 second, guys. 1 quick second here. Okay, so like I was saying, guys, like here with Luthen, he decides to, because he decided to slow stuff down, give him enough time to power up what he needed to power up. That's when he decided to use his ship to be able to help him escape. Now, this isn't the first time. I can't remember specifically because I read so many books, and I'm just now getting around to reading Star Wars comic books. But this isn't the first time that somebody escaped a the tractor beam for the Empire, but this is technically the first time that somebody was actually able to do so in space, as far as to my knowledge. Now, if it did happen in any other in the other films, it's literally just not popping up in my head. But I want to say live action wise, this is the first time somebody ever escaped an Empire's tractor beam. The detail in that scene, how he uses the beam as the weapon, yeah, maybe he is ex-Empire officer. His strategy is like how exactly how the Empire works. I mean, he's been quoting, he's using the enemy's tools against them for the benefit of his plan. It's just really, really cool. It's really, really dope. But then once he decides to finally just fly off and maneuver to do his thing. Now, the one thing that I want to talk about here is really, 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 really short, is that basically the commander of the ship here, he's demanding where his the TIE fighters are, his wings are, and they fly out. This specific ship, I always like and love how they focus on the pilot of the ship. That's the one thing that I love about how they do it with the Empire. But secondly, this ship here on the corner, right, the bottom corner right here. I was looking at, I was like, what kind of ship is that? I looked up the TIE fighter ships. Now, I want to say this is either like a turbo laser or something else specifically, but it was really cool to see the look of this ship here. This is actually the first ship that Luthen takes out when he's flying, when he's basically preparing to escape. Smarty Pants tutoring said, it's the first time in any of the movies or shows. I love the weird thing shooting out the pack, destroying the tractor beam and then the lightsaber sides. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, that's what I was saying. I feel like that's literally the first time live action wise that somebody was able to escape a tractor beam from the Empire side of things. But then we see Luthen do his thing, how he maneuvered his ship. He does it with ease here. Even like when he used his radar and how the gun just like spun around real quickly to shoot one of the other ships out of the air before even operating his lightsaber slash laser beams on the side of his ship. It's just really just dope how everything just flowed once he got away from the tractor beam. Everything just flowed in such a smooth and almost literally perfect way. Just really just dope. Super dope, guys. Just super dope. I also like how they established it's supposed to be a non-combat ship and Luthen's flying. Yeah, non-combat indeed, right? Every Empire ship in the show is terrifying though. They make those like some horror figure. The sound design is chef kiss. Yeah, definitely. With how the ships sound, even when they were on Ferrix and they were having the ships fly by, like you couldn't help but feel. Many of us couldn't help but feel nervous for them. One of the things I didn't do a video on that I was trying to do. Will, what's going on, dude? How are you? The legend is in the comment section. I initially thought he was gonna just overpower the tractor beam from the thrusters. I wasn't thinking that. I just wasn't sure how he was, what he was looking to do. But once he did it, I was like, that was dope. Because you could say that it did seem like he was gonna overpower them by escaping on his own without doing what he did, because the ship did nudge forward some when he started to try to force himself to pull away from the tractor beam at the very beginning of it all. But because he did shake the ship for sure. If you think about it, his defenses were super low tech. He allowed the tractor beam to bring the shrapnel to the disc. Right. And even the lightsabers are somewhat low tech. Yeah, right, exactly. Real simple. I want to believe that he only uses this like once in a while, because it probably may take a lot out of the ship itself, and he may need to allow it to like I feel like it would overheat, and he would need to give it a couple of days to really to fix itself, so he can be able to, because it probably takes a lot out of the ship as a whole of him using this type of tech to where these lifesaver, these lasers are popping out the sides of the ship. I honestly too feel, guys, now that I've been taking this in, I definitely wanted to make this comment here. Wanted to talk to you all about it real briefly, unless you all have a thought on this too. That I honestly feel like they should have left this part here with the ship and the lasers. They should have left that a secret, because I was in the trailer. If I felt like if they had left this out and then had it pop up in the show, at least this part, this would have been definitely even more of a highlight for people, because this is literally the talk for a lot of Star Wars fans that I'm seeing on social media and stuff like that, and even these videos that are being pushed out. People are talking about this moment. Many people are saying like this is one of the greatest Star Wars space scenes of all time. Many people are saying that to be the case, and it's just the way that how things flowed with this scene that I can understand why people have that mindset. Uses back was smart, keeping just far enough. but still trying to give the impression to the Imperial ship that he just had some faulty equipment. That's the other thing I want to talk about. Well, how Luthen with how he was responding to the Empire when they were questioning him and talking to him and telling him they're going to board him, stuff like that. He, his moment here before he started to do what he did, I loved how he was talking to them, the voice that he was using. It was just really just dope to me, and how he was doing it. He probably doesn't use it much because it's so unique and such an identifier. Yeah, that definitely could be the case too, because they could put out something like, hey, we're looking for this specific ship, this is what it looks like, blah blah blah, this is what the ship does. Definitely, if you've seen this occur, let the appropriate authorities know within the Empire, and we will be able to get to that specific area looking for this ship or whatever. It was in the trailer and I kept waiting for it, and yeah, I wish it was saved. Yeah, like if they had left it out the trailer, like I said, if they had left it out the trailer, this would have been even more of a talk of the town. But people were still talking about this. People were still like, yo, this was just really dope to see. I would say one of the best sci-fi fantasy series on right now. Masterclass Masterclass filmmaking, working in animation, actually trying to learn about. Nice. I hope you definitely have success with that, JP. Definitely. And I'm a fan of animation myself, so I love anime. So you know what I mean. Like, if something comes out with you, let me know. I'm trying to check it out. Like, to be honest, just being honest. Like, I love animation. I love anime. So send it my way. So then once he does that, I love how because again, how I was saying, everything flowed, and then he zipped out into hyperspace and dipped out. And I just love that they just focused on the commander here and how he was looking. He just couldn't. He was just like, he even said it prior to this even happening. He was just like, no, like, you know what I mean? Horizon Forbidden West. Nice. He just, and then he just looks to the side, to, the people here. And then he just looks back and he shakes his head. It's just like, this was just beautiful, guys. It was short, but I kind of loved that about it, as the people on the ship were dumbfounded, like, yeah, exactly, all of them, like, what just happened? Like, your boy, like I said, he was just like, no, like, he said it like, no, like, as if to say, like, that can't be happening. What do you mean? Like how you're saying, like, what just happened? Like, that can't be the case. Like, what's really going on, right? So yeah. And then, of course, we get the call home. Cassian calls home. He talks to your boy here, and he's trying to be quick with his call. He's staying out the viewpoint because I guess he doesn't want them to know, because dude was just saying, I don't have a visual for you, and he was just saying, like, just let Marvin know I'm thinking about it, blah blah blah. It was, JP. It really was. It really was. It truly was. Just like with B, same thing, just sad, right? And I wasn't sure if he was going to tell Cassian or not. He was going to wait for him to come home. But at the same time, I kind of feel like it was just best for him to do that, because then we still will basically have Cassian come home. It's just best that he does, so he can be there for the funeral. It just needs to happen. Like, why not to be there for his adopted mother's funeral? Just smart of him to do. But at the same time, it's kind of not smart, because Census there, ISB's there, everybody, people, specifically key people, are waiting for him to come home so they can try to get at him. This last scene was very powerful. I just happened to have something in my eye watching. Yeah, definitely right. Yeah, DJ. Yeah, definitely right. But I loved how he was looking and how he was reacting once he found out the news, and how he was responding to Melshi when they were talking, and he, Melshi was saying to him, like, we need to split up, blah blah blah. This is what we need to do. He gave Melshi the gun here. They said their goodbyes, and I just love how Cassian looked out into the ocean, And he stared at her for like 10 seconds before looking away, but then looking down. Like, just dope acting in this scene, reaction. It's just like, man, like, because like I said, that's the thing, guys. Last week I was saying it was last week and even the week prior, I was saying that my thought was that Cassian is gonna either get there when Marva's like, while she's dying, and he's gonna try to help her, but he can't, or he's gonna get there as she's basically on her way out the door. Like, she's just getting ready to pass away. He has a final moment with her, roughly 5 minutes or something, and then she passes away. But he doesn't even get a chance to have that. So it's just like, man, like, yeah, JP, yeah, like Niagara Falls, right? It just sucks. Like, it really just sucks. It really does. So yeah. Let's see. Also, think about how often he's been caught in the light of a new day. How it's so often the start of a new chapter, end of a chapter of his life. Right. He's in a constant state of reinvention and rebirth. Right. Exactly. Like, his character is going through so many shifts in his life, and this is just another reason of why he's joining the rebellion. You know what I mean? Like, we're now starting to see the full-on scope and reasons why he's starting to join. And of course, it's going to be, his mother, Marva's death is going to be the reason why he does indeed join, is because she was deciding to join the rebellion. She decided to do that. She went out of her way to go find that hidden tunnel and got hurt, and that's what caused her to start breathing weird, and she started to have to be on meds, and she was being real rebellious with that. And Cassian's going to have even more of a reason to blame the Empire, and this is what we're getting. We're actually getting the full-on scope of, okay, this is why Cassian specifically is here. We don't know why Melshi is gonna join, but he probably may do so by having a specific conversation and saying, you know what, like, dude, like, this is what the Empire did. This is what my mother was trying to do. They're the reason why she's dead. I helped you escape. Could you join me in fighting the Empire? You know what I mean? Like, and I talked about that last week, where how we were rooting for. Let me see if I can find it here. I think I do still have it. Yeah, I do. Give me a moment here. Could probably just use this one here from last week, because I said it, because somebody said in the comments of a different content creator, like from like 2-3 weeks ago, where we know that many of these convicted people are in these jails for a specific reason, and we still rooted for them to escape the prison, even though they were bad people. And the Empire has specific people that we were rooting against here at the prison because they were guards and stuff, and they were like you know what I mean, like being guards that we didn't want them to do specific things to these inmates. So it's just like we were rooting for these prisoners, and yeah, you know what I mean, like that's why I'm saying such great writing with the show, and I just can't get enough. Even though season 1's going to be done with next week, it's just like, man, like, it's just dope. Summer Star, you said, let's see. Oh, sorry, JP, you said he didn't have the final closures with his mom, and that's really hurt. His mom, his only family he has left, right? And his mom's last wish to start rebellion, right? At first, I wish Love would do a score for this show, but the guy who makes the score for this is doing a great job. He really is, yeah. I was in love with scores for Black Panther. Right. So what was I getting ready to say? So hopefully next week we'll be able to see our girl, because she this was the only spot that she had in episode 11 where she was talking to them about allowing them to have the funeral. She was saying how we're just going to step back and watch because Dedra is actually expecting people to do something. So we're going to get that next week. So she's just like preparing her men for that revolt. Let me see. Smarty Pants said, in a way, I wish they dropped them together, but I think releasing weekly in some ways allow people to appreciate the individual. Yeah, they're again, the binge stuff can be good at times, but then bad at times because you know what I mean, you can, like how I sometimes do when I'm watching a show, I can knock out I can binge a show in a day, and then I'll be upset because I'm just like, there's what do I watch now? Because then I'll have to go and watch something else or continue watching something else, type of thing. But I feel like with the Disney shows themselves, not just like Star Wars, like because they're pushing them out weekly when we're watching like the Marvel stuff, and including the Star Wars stuff, that because they're doing the weekly stuff, it just gives people more stuff to talk about. Because a lot of us, there's many of us who can't binge a show. You can't just sit at home and watch, even on a day off. Can't do it because you have other obligations. You may have kids you have to tend to. You may have, family that you're taking care of, or you know what I mean. You may have a side job or something where you're doing 5 hours of work, and then by the time you're done, you're too pooped to do anything else, so you just go straight to bed and you're just done for the day. There's various things in our lives that can indeed cause us to not be able to sit down and binge an entire show in one sitting. Do you think Surreal is going to be his own downfall, or Dedra will be the death of him? He's a pawn in her chess game. Like I said before, Dedra, she gained the information that she needed from him. JP, you said you want them to release Stranger Things weekly. Well, that's never going to happen. They're literally about to push out their final thing in a couple of years or whatever. So that's not going to happen. That show's almost done with. But Netflix they are talking about doing the weekly stuff. They're going to probably just like do a test run for the show. Smarty Pants, you said it helps that most of these individual episodes have enough to actually chew on. Yes, indeed. This is a show that is cinematic like a movie, but appreciate the medium. Summerstar said you prefer weekly episodes. It seems to prolong the enjoyment. It does. Like guys, if the weekly stuff, if we didn't get the weekly stuff with any of these shows like Star Wars or anything like that, and we just had the binge stuff, like then that's what would happen. Like if they did a test run and they were just like, okay, we're seeing that people aren't really liking waiting every Wednesday or every Thursday or every Monday or whatever to watch a show, they would just nix it all together. But Netflix is making the decision to finally say, like, let's test this out. So we'll see what happens. Like you said, JP, maybe they might release Stranger Things or whatever show weekly. Maybe they will. We'll see what happens. So yeah, Dedra, hopefully next week we'll get more Dedra next week. Get our girl back in the fold. I think sometimes the episodes have a tendency of blurring together when you put them all together. That being said, I will do a marathon when it's done. Yeah, you have the option to do a marathon. Sit down and watch in a day. I want to say, since we didn't get the meet between Davos, Sun, and Mothma's daughter this week, I want to say that meet will happen next week. If it doesn't happen next week, then for sure it will happen in season 2. But we'll see, because I was kind of expecting it to happen literally right away, like the following week, which was this past Wednesday, but that didn't happen. So we'll probably get that. If we don't get it, then we'll definitely be in season 2. I was just like thinking that they would have just put that in there real quick. We got a chance to see what his son looks like. Maybe we'll see a brief moment of a conversation between the daughter and the son, but mostly just Mothma and Davo talking some more amongst themselves. Like we did talk about with Cyril, hopefully, he gets on this back on the saddle, goes out here. He finally gets the one-on-one with Cassian, and he'll get back into the Empire good graces, and then in season 2 he'll switch sides. That's what I'm expecting with his character. At least I'm expecting him to run into Cassian next week. Mother storyline is only one that feels a little disconnected from everything else, but that's okay. I imagine she will meet Andor in season 2. It is. You can definitely say that it is, even though she's come in contact with Luthen, but it's more so just establishing her specific stuff that will push her to say, you know what, I need to fully join the rebellion. This is just one of the things that will cause her to do so, because stuff is just, like she kept saying, like, she's being watched and her drivers are getting switched every week, and she doesn't trust anybody. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, yeah. Can't figure out if Cyril will succeed or continue to fail. Fascinating character regardless, definitely. I think the only show that hasn't happened for me was The Sandman. Each episode was so different. One each, and then you read the comics. Okay, I didn't read the comics. I watched the Sandman show and I actually loved it, but that's just me. What was I ready to say? So I talked about Mothma, I talked about Cyril, I talked about Dedra. And then, of course, we will get we'll get the funeral next week, and things will pop off, things will jump off, and we will, so, once, like I said, guys, once the funeral pops off, that's when, like Dedra was saying, she's going to be waiting for things to just, like, get out of hand. But I'm curious and wondering who's going to be the one that sparks that match to set the fire ablaze that will spark that revolt in next week's episode for the finale. Any other thoughts for episode 11 from this past Wednesday? Any other thoughts at all? Also, too, I feel Vel will have maybe some other stuff to do. Maybe she'll meet up with Cinta again. Maybe Clea will do something else as well. Good night, JP. Definitely. Thanks for stopping through. Everybody. Those of you, Summer Star, Smarty Pants, DJ, Will, everybody, thanks. It's real as always, guys. Anytime any of you are here. Mr. Tony as well, way back at the beginning of the stream. Definitely, it's always real with all of you all. Star Wars it's great. It really, really is great. Mothma is loosely tied to Vel, right, and Luthen, and her banking issues are a problem due to the Aldani rate, right. So things are interconnected, but some are subtle, right. DJ says, another great discussion. Yeah, definitely, you're welcome. Glad to have it. Can't wait for season 2. I really can't. Truly, guys, I cannot wait. I feel confident we'll stick the landing in the finale. I believe so too. Like I said, guys, we will be doing a stream for the ranking of all the episodes for season 1. We'll do a stream on that. And I'll probably just do a binge after the season finale, like roughly like that weekend, because I'm off that weekend for sure. Just want to let y'all know I'm going out of town the following week, so not Well, no, it's in 3 weeks. What am I saying? It's in 3 weeks. I'm going out of town for a few days because I just gotta get out. I gotta get out of here. I need full on mental break. Like stuff just been happening here at home. Been like just like messing with my mind, and I need to take. You know what I mean? I need to take a break. But nothing to do with the channel itself. But yeah, but once the season finale happens, after the holiday, I will probably look to do. I might still do a stream next Saturday because I'm off next weekend. Yeah, you too. You should do arcs rather than episodes because some scenes can't stand on their own. Right, yeah. I mean, we may just talk about all the episodes and then just talk about the arcs themselves and do like a interconnect. Like this episode was better than this, and then we'll probably say like this arc was better than this arc. Like top whatever, like from the best to the worst. And that's the thing. Like with the show itself, there's only specific things within the show that aren't good, but they're not that bad. You know what I mean? Like at least from my perspective. So yeah. So next week, because again, Wednesday's the whatchamacallit. I'm still gonna push videos out on the channel Wednesday, of course, the day of Thanksgiving Day as well. Friday, just my I usually do 3 videos the week of. So like let's say Andor pushed out on Mondays, I would do 4 videos. Like that's how I would do it. And then the weekend I would kind of like take a break or do a small video here and then get that pushed out for the following week or something like that. So that's how I would do it, because you know what I mean, like this specific show is like real hot, and you know what I mean, people are tuning into the channel to see what I'm pushing out. So I would just do that, and you know, of course, reading everybody's comments, like I told y'all in the last past stream, that I do read many of the comments that people leave, whether they're subscribers or not. I'm just interested in reading people's thoughts, what they're thinking, how they viewed it, and you know, give them my thoughts on what they're saying, and then I go to other content creators and watch their streams and see what they thought, because it gives me a different perspective on stuff a lot of times too. And then I'll come back to these streams and be like, yo, like this is what people are saying, this is what I was thinking, but this is what other people were thinking. And it's just like, I love how, you know what I mean, this stuff can be so subjective that we can have specific conversations to be like, yo, like this is what you were thinking, or this is what you were responding, how you're reacting to it. And you know what I mean, like me, I'm like that's dope, like how you viewed it, even though I didn't view it that way. But that's interesting how you saw it that way, how you connected it that way. Like that was either cool or dope or interesting. So like I said, you know, these shows, these movies, it's all subjective. It's all from the person's perspective. And like I keep saying, Star Wars is a universe. It's so broad. There's so much out there for the universe, for fans to sit and take a piece from here or take a piece from there, enjoy it or not enjoy it. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're not going to enjoy everything about Star Wars, whether it's a show, a movie, a comic book, a book. You know what I mean? Like we're just not. Even the fan fiction, like we're just not going to enjoy everything within the Star Wars universe, but we surely can take a piece of something from the universe itself and enjoy those things. We can check out everything and just be like, you know what, this stuff I didn't like, but this stuff I did, and you know, just move it from here. But you know, I mean, there are purists out there, there are perfectionists. They want Star Wars to be, you know, they want everything about Star Wars to be, you know, whatever it is. You know what I mean? And they have a right to feel and think that. But at the end of the day, we're human. We're not gonna like, I mean, there are people out there that just they're not gonna connect with everything that gets pushed out by you know, per the Star Wars name, whether it's from Disney or somewhere else. So there's so much room to tell different stories with different tones. Yeah, there is. Even in Star Wars, right? Even in Star Wars, any fandom, there's so much stuff that you can talk about. But you know, you're at the end of the day, you're not gonna please everybody. It's just not gonna happen because people are gonna react and feel how they feel. It's just the truth. And you know what I mean, everybody they're allowed to feel that. I just wish that people didn't attack people for and name call for their own thoughts on the original, the prequels, or the sequels. Like, let people enjoy things. Just shh, like the meme says, shh. Let people enjoy things. Just let them enjoy it. Sit down and talk to them, have a disagreement, but don't attack them for, you know what I mean, like having their own thoughts on a show, a book, a comic book, a TV, you know what I mean, a movie. Like, it's all good. We're fans of the universe. Something about Star Wars grabbed us and gravitated us to it, and we decided to check out some other stuff. And hey, something we didn't like, we just didn't like. But yeah, I would like more things like Andor, but not everything has to be like it moving forward. Yeah, many fans, that's what many fans want. Many fans do want, you know, there are fans out there like me. Like, I love the Force, I love the Jedi, I love the Sith. It might even be more of a topic here on the channel, but I will gladly talk about Andor content. I will gladly, because all the flashy stuff, at the end of the day, it has to tone down at some point. You have to actually tackle some serious stuff. You actually have to have some dialogue where there are scenes where you are grasping on every word of each character, like a Saul, like a Luthen, like a Kino Loy, you know what I mean, like a Mon Mothma. You're holding on to every word that these characters say, the reactions between these characters, their facial expressions. You can't get that if all you see is flashing lights, lightsabers, space battles, and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, they are characters. They are, you know, some of them are human beings, and even humanoids, but you want these characters to still show an emotion. You know what I mean? So you want that. You would expect that, because that's what we do as human beings. That's what we do. We show emotions. We share our thoughts. We can't do that if we're always in outer space fighting, always using the Force and Force lightning and stuff like that. You know, we need Andor. We need these type of heavy dialogue, 90% dialogue, 10% action, or 95% dialogue and 10% action. That's what we need. Variety makes you appreciate certain things more. If you got 4 Star Wars movies in 1 year, each one featured Vader, you wouldn't miss them. I believe in the make me miss them, right? And Vader showing up once in the show would be cool, not all the time. Palpatine showing up once in Andor would be cool, not all the time. It's just really, really cool. But yeah, same thing. I still want the Jedi. I still want the Sith. I do. But yeah. But I enjoyed today's stream, guys. Let me know. What am I saying? I don't know what I'm saying. I'm getting tired. But I enjoyed today's stream. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go get some dinner, and I'm gonna chill, rest my mind, and definitely just be on the lookout for maybe another video. Maybe Sunday. I don't know. I'm probably not gonna put a video together today. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe tomorrow. But if not Sunday, probably Monday or Tuesday, and then we'll walk into. I might do a stream next week, but we'll see. But yeah, definitely. Like I said, guys, thank y'all for coming through. Still want swings, want swings, but definitely, guys, it's been real. Stay safe, stay humble, and remember the Force